Hello fellow bunk blasters, and welcome back to another round of eradication of EV bunk, where we take the hot air out of electric vehicle nonsense faster than a Tesla supercharger on a road trip. I'm Jim, and I'm sitting here next to my innocent looking chunk of rubber, this thing right here on my EV. Got some information here in my lap I'm going to be reading to you. But let's talk about this thing. It looks harmless, right? But oh boy, if you listen to the tire lobby or the comment section commandos in my previous videos, you'd think this thing needs a PhD in quantum physics just to roll down the driveway without causing the apocalypse. Today, we're blasting the bunk on the EV-only tire myths again. Because apparently, without some $300 a pop special, your Leaf is going to yeet itself into orbit. Grab a seat, folks. It's time to deflate a few egos. Well, I do have to say it is a beautiful day here in Central Florida for a change. I'm sitting in my garage with the garage door open, as you can see, and I am not covered in sweat yet, so that's a good thing. So let's map this madness about EV-only tires. We're going to dive into the fever dreams people have about EV tires, you know, the stuff that keeps tire salesmen up at night. Then we're going to tackle the so-called science behind what's propping up this hype machine, courtesy of some of the yeah but monsters in my previous videos. And finally, the meat. We're going to take a deep dive into those sidewall numbers. We're going to get in close and look. So no matter how you shop or when you shop, you're going to be able to shop without getting upsold for some kind of unicorn rubber that you need for your EV-only application. By the end, you'll laugh at the next guy who says, your Prius tires won't cut it on a Mach-E. Sound good? So strap in, no explosions, guaranteed. Here we go. Okay, the first thing up here is the fever swamp of EV tire myths. If you've been hiding under a rock or like me, just simply avoiding the comments on my last two tire vids for weeks because life is too short for that level of clownery, you know what I'm talking about, then let's go into these hidden gems in my comments section. Hundreds of gems in those sections, folks. Stuff that makes flat Earth look peer-reviewed. Really does. Here's some from the Hall of Fame, and I'm just going to read them to you. EVs are so heavy that no regular tire can support the weight without immediate failure because your 4,000-pound crossover is basically a semi-truck. Instant torque will shred any non-EV tire in seconds. Oh sure, that 300 foot-pounds is going to turn your Michelins into confetti, right? Without special tires, EV batteries will overheat and explode from friction because physics works like bad Michael Bay script on EVs. Road noise in EVs is unbearable unless using proprietary foam-lined tires. Right, yeah, sure, because silence is golden until the asphalt whispers sweet nothings. Regular tires reduce range by 50% or more, stranding you mid-trip. Stranded? More like, oops, I forgot to plug in. Maybe. Here's my favorite. EV tires are mandated by law. Using others voids your warranty and insurance. News flash. Congress is not regulating your Goodyears. Yet, anyway. Another one. Only EV-specific tires prevent spontaneous combustion from regenerative braking. Whoo! Regen's evil twin, the fire fairy. Woo-woo! Call the fire department. The tires must be electrified to sync with the motor's electromagnetic field. Tesla who? Faraday's ghost approves? Come on, people. Without unique compounds, tires will attract lightning strikes during charging. That's right, because EVs are just Thor's Uber, right? Here's another favorite. Special tires are required because EVs don't have transmission to cushion the wheels. Ah, yes. That magical CVT pillow fight. Whew, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. But my torque, what about my range? And it's like herding caffeinated squirrels. But wait, here comes the yeah but monsters. Let's take a look at the science. You know, yeah but, the science. Okay, so enter the yeah but brigade. Those keyboard PhDs who smacked me in the comments section to links about science, saying, yeah, but what about these papers? They wave them around like the holy grails, but let's autopsy this bunk. I got a list right here. The first one I got was Influence of Tire Characteristics on Electric Vehicle Range by J. Kim in the Journal of Automobile Engineering in 2022. The second one I got was Non-Exhaust Emissions from Tires, Implications for Electric Vehicles, again by H. Wang in the Environmental Science and Technology papers in 2023. Then I got Acoustic Design of Tires for Electric Vehicles, Reducing Cavity and Tread Noise by M. Rossi in Applied Acoustics in 2021. Then I got Advanced Rubber Compounds for High-Load Electric Vehicles by S. Lee in Polymer Engineering and Science in 2024. And then finally one that I got hit with was Life Cycle Assessment of Tires for Battery Electric Vehicles by A. Torres in the Journal of Cleaner Production in 2023. Look here. The research vibes are solid. They talk about rolling resistance, emissions, noise damping, all cool topics, but here's the blast for all 5 of these papers. Not one of these papers has ever been peer reviewed. Zilch. Nada. Not one. And get this, most are penned by scientists on the payroll of, drum roll please, tire companies. Michelin, Bridgestone, the usual suspects fund their own fanfic. It's like Big Soda sponsoring a sugar is healthy science project, right? Right. Science? No. It's marketing with footnotes. Papers shredded. Okay, this is going to be the heart of this video. There's going to be a ton of information coming across your screen, so please pay attention. Pardon the pun, but this is where the rubber meets the road. Here we go. Okay, my friends, let's kick off our sidewall deep dive with Category 1, tire size. Check this thing out, P215 50ZR17, stamped right there like a car's birth certificate. It sounds like code, but it's simple. The P means passenger tire, your standard EV or sedan fit. 215 is the width in millimeters, side to side. Think of it as the tire's footprint, which is about 8.5 inches wide for good grip. 50 is the aspect ratio. The sidewall's height is 50% of the width, so roughly 4.2 inches, giving it a kind of a sporty, low-profile vibe. Now, the ZR, that's spicy. Let's focus on the R. R means radial construction for smooth rides. The Z, well, it's a speed rating flag screaming high performance, over 149 miles per hour. We're going to link that to a letter later in this discussion, Y or W, for specifics. And then finally, 17 is the rim diameter in inches. It's got to match your wheel or you're not going to be rolling. There are other letters here. D for old school bias ply, which is very rare now, and B for bias ply, bias belted, which is even rarer. So stick with the R or ZR for EVs. Boom. Size decoded in under a minute. Now let's go to the load index. Let's roll up on that. Load and speed, the muscle and hustle of your tire. That's 95W and XL on our P215 50R17s. The 95 is load index, telling you how much weight this tire can carry, exactly 690 kilograms or about 1,521 pounds per tire for about 6,000 pounds or more total. The W is the speed rating. Max safe speed at that load here is 168 miles per hour, tying back to the Z in the ZR. This means this tire is made of tough compounds and stiff sidewalls that laugh off heat and torque from your EV's instant kick. The XL, or extra load, screams a beefier instruction. It means the sidewall plies have 10 to 20% more strength than a standard load tire. My Bolt was actually delivered with SL, standard load tires, but I wanted better handling, so I upped to an XL when I changed the tires about 30,000 miles back. The point I want to make here is it's not EV-only magic. It's just math for safety and performance. There is also a North American code only section that looks something like this. Our next category is UTQG rating, the tire's report card for durability, grip, and heat resistance. You will see it etched on the sidewall, something like 400 AA. UTQG stands for Uniform Tire Quality Grading, a U.S. standard for passenger tires. The first number is tread wear, higher means longer life. But it's not gospel because EVs get better traction and people tend to drive them a little more aggressively, which means they're going to chew through the rubber a little bit faster. The first letter, like A, rates wet traction. A is top notch, B is decent, C is the minimum allowed by law. This is about stopping on slick roads, not cornering, so keep that in mind. The second letter, also an A in this case, is temperature resistance, how well the tire shrugs off heat from speed and heavy loads. A handles high heat, B is okay, and C is just basic. Again, if it don't meet a C rating, it's not going on the road in the United States. For an EV, always aim for 300 plus tread wear and A for grip and heat to match that instant torque and weight. There's no EV-only voodoo here. It's just pick what fits your ride. It's as simple as that. Now let's get into those DOT numbers. Like our example, DOT 18E 4M AMAR 5023. Basically, this is your tire's birth certificate proving that it meets U.S. safety standards. Here in the U.S., if there's no DOT on your tire, it's no bueno for U.S. roads, period. The only digits we really need to focus on here are the 5023. That's the gold standard for tire manufacturing date. In this case, 5023 means the 50th week of 2023, December 2023. Why care? Tires over 6 years old, even unused, can harden and crack, risking blowouts, especially under EV weight and torque. The rest of the code is just production code for tires. It tracks the factory, the lot size, and brand specific, but it's nerd stuff for manufacturers. And again, there is no EV-only nonsense, just age that matters for safer sidewalls and better grip. Keep that in mind. Now let's talk about the plies. The plies are the tire's skeleton. Listed here it says plies, sidewall, 1 polyester, tread, 1 polyester, 2 steel, and 1 nylon. This simply tells you about the layers building the strength for your tire. For this particular tire, 1 polyester ply keeps it flexible yet tough, and it's perfect for the 95Ws that are on my car. And it may be considered thin, but it's enough for standard EVs like the Bolt. The key here is the tread. There's 1 polyester for stability, 2 steel belts for puncture resistance, and 1 nylon for high speed grip. That's why it's ZR rated for 149 plus miles per hour. As is the case for everything, more equals stronger. So the more plies you have, the stronger the tire, and the better it will handle an EV weight and torque without bulging or cracking. If you don't have enough strength in your tire, even beefy plies will collapse. And too high, you're going to be riding on basically a rock. Again, no EV-only fairy dust, just good engineering. Now let's get right down to the crux of this matter, DOTs and the EV-only tire myth. Spoiler alert, there is no DOT code or requirement mandating special tires for EVs. None. Zilch. Nada. Not a single thing. That EV-only label is pure marketing hype from tire companies pushing pricier rubber. The DOT sets safety standards for all tires like the one we have shown here, not some unicorn EV stamp. Manufacturers love the buzzword to upsell foam-lined or low-rolling resistance tires, but it's all fluff. EVs do stress tires more, heavier weight and crazy torque, so we do need a DOT code update to flag high load or torque-ready tires. Until then, we need to stick with the basics. Load index 95 or higher for 1,521 pounds per tire, XL for extra sidewall strength, and W for better speed and heat dissipation. Match your EV's placard. Check the PSI and roll on. No hype, just good specs. So my friends, just like I hammered before in my other EV tire videos, an EV-only tire is pure marketing ploy. It's smoke and mirrors to pad profits. You don't need proprietary foam or electrified voodoo juice. You need a round tire that meets your car's weight, its speed, and grip requirements, and of course your driving style. If you're a heavy driver, get a more robust tire. Focus on these three things to make it safe for your EV. The weight rating, the load index, and use XL for that extra battery bulk if you can. The sidewall rating, the number of plies and construction to shrug off torque like a boss. And of course the speed rating. For that speed rating, that's a number that matches your driving style, and always buy one that is about 2 levels above your car's maximum speed, because that helps dissipate the heat. Match your specs, inflate properly, and just roll on. No explosions, no strandings, just efficient, quiet EV miles. Thanks for blasting Bunk with me again today, and hit like if you've learned something. Subscribe for more EV truth bombs, and drop your wildest tire tale in the comments. And I might actually get around to reading them this time, just this once, and only if you're nice to me. I'll see you out there or somewhere along the route from point A to point B. Stay charged, stay skeptical,